Hi, it's Joanna with Nanny's Country Treasures. I like to DIY on a budget. This time we're really DIYing on a budget because we're going to do some recycled winter and or Christmas projects. Now, let's get crafty. The first project I'm going to be using these paper towel and toilet paper rolls, and I just flattened them out, and then I used this little rolling pin to flatten the edges down just a little more, and because they were bulky. Then I have these printables, and I cannot make these printables for you, I am sorry, but as I was doing this, the reason there are so many printables is because I found out that toilet paper rolls are different sizes. So it depends on what toilet paper rolls you have. So the best thing that I could say to you is either paint them, which I painted one, and I was going to paint them all, but I couldn't get my notches out right. But you can paint them, or you can just cover them with contact paper or scrapbook paper or whatever, and then cut your little notches out. I couldn't get the notches out, like I said, so that's the reason I made this printable. But all it is triangles on top of each other, and then, you know, sized to my toilet paper roll. Okay, that's all I've done. And I'm just going to cut them down to size, and then I'm going to glue them on and cut the notches out. I am just going to take regular old glue stick and glue them on to my flattened toilet paper or paper towel rolls. And I ended up putting the glue stick on the roll itself because it was just easier that way instead of getting it all over my glass surface. But when you put these together, you want to try to make sure that you match your front and back together, because when you cut your notches out, you want to make sure that you cut them out the right way, unless you just use contact paper or paint them. Now this is pretty simple. All I'm going to do is take a pair of scissors and cut out all of my tree and my notches. And then at the bottom, I am going to cut my right under the tree, and then I'm going to cut another notch and bend it over and cut that notch out to make the tree trunk and the stand. I may have not made any sense right there, but you'll see what I'm doing, okay? Now once you have your tree cut out, all you do is pull your little tree apart and then put your round part, make it a little rounder. Sometimes, where they're made together, they'll come apart. You just take glue stick, glue it right back down, hold it for a minute, and it's good to go. You can paint the bottoms brown if you want to, but it's already brown. I had white oh my goodness, I had white toilet paper rolls, but I chose the brown ones on purpose so I would not have to paint them. And here they are, and this is the one you can see it. I painted it. It was something. But anyway, for this next one, I am using coffee pods. Okay, these are not for coffee. They were hot chocolate, and I got rid of the pot that made it, have holes in it or whatnot. So I just opened them and poured it in a cup, and it's literally just hot chocolate in a pod. But anyway, these are untouched pods. So I am going to be making hats out of them. And I got some thick cardboard like stuff. I used to have my fabric rolled on this stuff. It's comic book boards, so it's really, really thick. And all I'm going to do is trace around each one of the cups, which weirdly was different sizes. But anyway, trace around each one and then use hot glue and glue it around and seal my bottoms. Now I'm just going to take this Craftwise chalk paint. I got it at the Dollar Tree. And it's okay. Chalk paint did work better for me. The Waverly chalk paint and ink. But anyway, I give them coats of black paint all over. And if you want to use these as Christmas tree decorations, you'll want to poke a hole in your cup before you put your bottom on. And then you can use tweezers, a needle, whatever, and shove this little string through this hole. And this thing put me riding the struggle bus, y'all, because every time I pulled it through to tie it, it was like it was going to come out the top. But I eventually got it. Okay, now you're just going to tie a knot in it. But not this long. Yeah, I don't know what kind of branch that this thing would have went over. But anyway, I kept pulling it and I thought it was going to come out the top. So I grabbed my pink tool and shove it through the top so that the loop can't come through the hole. And that way I can tie it shorter. And once I get it tied, I'm just going to take hot glue and put a good amount in the bottom of that cup and pull that knot to it and then shove the rest of the string down on there. Now I'm going to paint them all, and they're all painted. So I'm just going to take this ribbon that I got from Hobby Lobby. It's real skinny ribbon, and I'm going to put a little dab of glue and then run this around for a hat band. And my glue gun is extremely hot, so you have to be careful about adding a lot of glue because you will melt your pods. A cooler or low temp glue gun would have been better for this project, but I don't know where mine is, so this is just it. But anyway, my hat band is on, and now it is time to decorate the hat. And I got these bushes that I absolutely loved from the Dollar Tree this year, and I am just going to cut some of these little bitty branches off the bottom to use for this hat. Just because you have a big branch don't mean you have to use the whole big branch. You can cut pieces off of these to make smaller pieces to use in your smaller projects, which is awesome. So I'm just going to take hot glue and I'm going to attach these to the band to give it a little color and some winteriness and or whatever you want to call it. And then I am just going to start embellishing this. I'm trying to figure out if I want it with just 2 or if I want it more. I really didn't know. I just go with the flow when I'm crafting, y'all. So I'm fiddling. But I end up just getting some berries. Actually, they're pip berries from a pine cone assortment that I believe I got at Walmart. Or maybe in Hobby Lobby, but I'm thinking it's Walmart. I don't know. One or the other. So I'm just going to cut these little bitty pine cones off. They're really teeny tiny. So it's actually perfect for this little hat thing. So I am just going to be putting my pine cones and those little berries on this hat. Then I looked at it and decided that it needed a little more greenery. So I got some some more of those little sprigs and cut them shorter, and then just added them in. Now this one is finished, and I'm going to do the other two with different ribbon and in the same manner. This one has black and white buffalo check, a glitter snowflake, and holly stickers. This one has silver ribbon, berries, and some greenery. Then when I have all of my little pieces on there, I just take some white chalk paint and a chippy brush, and I am not pouncing on anything that is glass, y'all. In case you don't know, it just scrapes or wipes right off. But anyway, I'm just going to add a little snow effect to each one of the hats. And there they all are, and they are so cute. Now, for this DIY, we are going to be using an old bottle. These are done with wine bottles, but I don't drink wine, but I do drink a lot of coffee, and I use a lot of coffee syrup. So this is one of the coffee syrup bottles, and I'm just going to take this light brown, and I am going to paint my entire bottle except the very top doesn't need painted, and this takes 2 coats. Now I'm going to put all this paint and stuff to the side, clean up my space, and I'm going to get a piece of fabric. I want a piece to go around this bottle, okay? So it's about right there. So I'm going to cut it about right there. And then I am going to cut the edge off where all the dots are. This is called the selvage edge. I cut it off. Make sure that it goes around and trim it accordingly if it needs it. Now I'm going to fold it up as far as it'll go, and I'm just going to take my scissors, and once I get it folded, I am going to cut it even and cut that piece off of there. Now I am going to put a hem in this just by folding it down. Now if you don't want to hot glue, you can sew this. I was trying to do a no-sew project here, so I am just taking hot glue carefully. A little bit of glue, it goes a long ways. And just fold this over and make a little hem. And like I said, it doesn't take much glue. This is a finer tip glue gun. Even though it's big, it's a fine tip gun. And I'm going to do the same to the other side. Once I have the 2 ends, then I'm going to fold it in the middle, and I'm going to push it down and make a crease. You do have to push a little hard and rub it to make the crease in it. Make sure it fits before I go any further. I am not doing this by a pattern. I'm doing it by my eye. But I'm going to take this fabric and fold it into a square, somewhat of a square, and then fold that square in half or into another square. You see what I'm doing. Fold over. Fold over one way, fold over the other way. What we're going to be doing is cutting a circle. My first circle was way too big. Okay, so you're gonna need a smaller square, and my circle came out being wow. You know, it's like I looked at that and I thought, girl, no, you're gonna have to cut another circle. So I cut a little bit off and trimmed it, but I had to cut even more off until I got like a 10 or 11 inch circle. Okay, so this is tragic. My battery died when I was doing this part, but all I done was take a needle, and I used dental floss because that's what I sew with when I'm crafting, and I just put a little running stitch around the edge of that circle and draw the circle up to get this like hat top thing. Okay, now's the kind of tricky part. you're going to fold one end in and good Lord, glue a hem in it, like deal, okay? Just to fold it over so that there's no raw edge sticking out. This will be a finished edge. Then I got burned. It happens. Now you're going to, I have one of those clips I got from the Dollar Tree, but you're going to take your gathers and you're going to loosen. I left the string in so that I can tighten it if I needed to, okay? Like I said, I'm not using a pattern. I'm just doing this out of my little head. So I'm going to take the wrong side and I'm going to leave it open and I'm going to clip it right there. And then I'm going to eventually put that band inside that hat. But right now what I'm doing is I'm just feeling around to make sure that the band and the hat are going to be about where they need to be. Okay? So now I needed to tighten it a little bit. I need to draw it up so that it will fit. Like I said, if you go too much, you can loosen it. If you don't have enough, you can tighten it. So I remove my clip. Everything's going to work. Now I'm going to take my band and I am going to glue this together, making sure that my right side is on the outside, my finished edge is on the outside. I was trying to do that so you could see me, and then I realized, just pick it up, dummy. But anyway, I got it, y'all. I'm a little slow, but I got it. So now I'm going to put the band back inside the hat, carefully so I don't stretch it. But you just see me flip it inside out, and it's got to be glued that way inside that hat. Like I said, be careful you don't stretch your stitches. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of glue, and I mean just a little bit of glue, and tack that down. And it's kind of hot, just so you know. And I'm going to do that all the way around this hat band until I have the hat band glued where it needs to be. Now just a little tip, once I got it tacked down around the edges, I slid my hand up in there, run my glue around, and pulled and tacked it down the way it needed to be, and this made it so much easier. But like I said, if you are a sewer and you know how to sew, you can sew this very easily and you won't have to use all this glue. But not everybody sews, and so I wanted to give an option to where you didn't have to sew this, but still make a cute little gingerbread guy. Okay. Now you want to flip your hat band down, and once it's cooled, you can pretty much tug on it or whatever, and it is not going to go anywhere. Pull your hat band down around, or actually it would be up, and then you are going to take your glue and secure that hat band like that right there, all the way around your hat. Once you got that done, you might want to slip it over and just make sure that it fits the way it should be. And mine did. So now I am going to take my bottle, and it is dry. I drew my face on with a pencil, and I'm not even going to lie, I used these little cutouts right here. I cut them out of cardboard because I would have one eye bigger than the other every stinking time. But anyway, I'm just going to use my paint pens, and I am going to draw their faces on. You can use a Sharpie marker if you want to, or you can hand paint them, you know, whatever you want to do. So I just painted my face on. Now I'm going to take this pink paint. They want, you know, a lot of them have red noses, but I don't like the red per se. This is a darker pink paint, and I'm just going to take a fine paintbrush, and I'm going to paint the nose on, and this does take 2 coats of paint. But while this paint's drying, I'm just going to take the red chalk over there that I use for cheeks, and I'm going to put chalk cheeks on here. And my daughter was FaceTiming me at the time, and she was like, won't that come off? And I was like, yeah, it could, but I don't really think anybody's going to be touching it, so it's okay. You can use, I could have used the pink Sharpie or just lighter pink paint or whatever, but this worked fine for me. And then I just took my finger and blended it in a little bit. And they're on there, buddy. Now I'm going to take my white paint marker. I get these at Walmart, and I love the fine tip ones. I'm just going to add my dots for the eyes. And then I'm going to add a little line in the eyes just to give it some definition and character. Then we're going to put one over the nose because it is dry now. Now I'm going to take my little hat and I'm going to place it over the top of this, and I am going to tack that down with glue when I get it where I want it. We're going to dress this guy up a little bit. So I'm going to take this ribbon that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to place a little bit in the back and then start tacking it around. It's going right in the middle of his little hat brim, I guess you'd call it, or hat band. Now I'm going to take some of this rickrack that I had. You can buy this at any craft store. You can even buy this at Walmart. This is just some that I had in my stash. And I am going to glue this around the bottom. I didn't glue or, glue rickrack or make a rickrack face with puffy paint or anything like that because there wasn't a lot of room. It would have cut his eyebrows and his little chin thingy out. So I just glued this around the bottom. And it was cute and I liked it. After that was glued on, I took this holly. Of course, it was in my craft stash. I save everything, y'all. And I just cut one off because it was kind of big. And so I glued the two down facing up. And then I took some of those berries and cut them off and glued them on as well. And it's done. And I turn it around because my daughter's on FaceTime against the wall with my phone and show her and got her approval. So there he is. Now this one, we're going to be using a light bulb. Okay. Save your light bulbs, people. These are adorable. I have a sock, but it has these grippies on it, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to put them in the back. Okay. So I'm going to cut my sock. And I'm going to cut the part of the toe part off at the heel. And then I'm going to cut the heel out and use the other part as well. But that's going to be the top. And then I'm cutting the heel out right there. And then I'm going to use this for something else. I didn't know which one I wanted as a top at the time, but I really liked this one. So that's the one I went with. But I used the other piece for something else. But anyway, all I'm going to do is I'm going to put the light bulb in. And these light bulbs are so awesome now because they're plastic. They're not glass anymore. But I'm just going to glue the hat down right there. And it's not going to look like this, I promise. It'll be different. It's not going to stick up in the air that much. But anyway, now I am going to put a face on this light bulb. And I'm just using my markers, and I'm going to just draw two little ovals. This is one of the easiest faces in the world. You just draw your little ovals and then your mouth. And then I am going to take an orange Sharpie. This was kind of hard. You have to go over it because the Sharpie don't want to stay on the light bulb plastic, okay? But if you just go over it, it'll eventually start showing up. And then I take a pink Sharpie and make the little cheeks. And this came out so stinking cute when I was done. I was so happy with it. Now I'm going to take a pom-pom and just glue a big fat pom-pom on top of the sock, which is the hat, and then flop it over. You don't have to glue this. It flops over by itself, trust me. And it is so darling. Now, if you want to hang it on your Christmas tree or whatever you want to do with it, you just take thread, run your thread and needle through the sock or string or wire or whatever. But you want to be close to the head because it'll be lopsided. But that's how you hang them. I'm going to take this jar right here. And it's an old, I call it dried beef, but it's a beef jar. And I'm going to take white chalk paint and paint the jar. And then I'm going to take this leftover sock piece. And I am going to flip it around the jar. And then tuck the rest inside. And I'm going to pull it down some because I want to do something with it, you know, so I want it a little bit longer. When I get that way, I am going to take my glue and I'm going to flip it up while I'm holding it. And I'm going to glue the top of the sock to the jar right here. And then hold that down till it's secure because I'm going to glue the head to this sock and I don't want the sock to be able to fall off. I got my glue gun dirty and it about just made me in a panic. But anyway, that's what I was showing you. Just, you know, you'd be like, why is she showing me the glue gun? Now I'm just going to take this light bulb or this snowman head now and glue it in the hole. Or in the... Well, yeah, in the hole. I'm gluing it in a hole. I got glue everywhere. So this spatula, these things are awesome. I mean, so awesome. Better than that makeup thing. It's a whole lot more, you know, sturdy. And you can get your glue off better. But anyways, I just glue that down. And then I am going to take the scarf and scrunch it up a little bit. And that's... what that it's just a neck scarf. Ain't it cute? I am in love with this thing. Okay, now I want to add a little embellishments to her, and I got these buttons at Hobby Lobby, and there's some little pink buttons that match her hat, and I'm just going to glue 2 buttons on the glass. Make sure your paint is really dry before you do this or they'll pop right off, paint and all. And now I'm just going to get in my little snowflake stash over here and grab a foam snowflake sticker. And it does have sticky on the back, but it doesn't stick to fabric. So I'm going to hot glue it down so that I know it won't go anywhere. And she is done. And how cute is she? I love it. Here are all of my finished projects. And I must say, I love them all, okay? But the snowman and the gingerbread are my absolute favorite. I am shocked over the gingerbread that it is too stinking cute. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you can become part of my YouTube family. I would sure appreciate that. And hit that bell to be notified when I upload a video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. You are a blessing.